What's going on, y'all? It's your boy GP, and you're rocking with me on the AquaMethodPodcast. And today I am joined with two very cool guys, Drew and Dale.
I've actually been on the podcast before.
Yeah?
I said one thing.
What was your experience with the podcast?
I don't remember.
Yeah?
Because I said one thing, and then I went to do something else.
Yeah?
That was when you were interviewing Jeff.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you did. Yeah, and I asked you what your name was, and you said the Asian.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Asian?
Yeah, that's what it said. And then you responded, well, that is true. You are Asian.
Right, and he's an Asian fella.
I am.
You know,
I'm also Mexican, which people think I'm Mexican.
People think you're Mexican too?
Yeah. No, a guy from Mexico thought I was Mexican and got offended when I didn't speak Spanish.
Oh.
And I was like, what kind of Latino are you? You don't speak Spanish. I'm not.
The
Asian kind.
Right, the Asian kind Latinos. The Latinos from Japan, China, Korea. But I had an interview lined up, and we was going to talk about video games, because I met this guy. He's an old friend of mine from the movie theater days, and he came into my other job, and he started talking about Halo 5 and stuff like that. And he was supposed to be here today, but he hasn't responded to any text or anything like that. So this is an impromptu podcast, and my man Dale was reluctant to join. And how you feeling right now, man? You feel nervous still or what?
I don't know.
Don't be nervous, man.
Just having a conversation.
Interesting thing about Dale is that he is a participant in judo, which that makes you is it called a judokai? Is that what it's called?
Judoka.
Okay. How was that? Like, when you got started with that?
About 4 or 5 years ago.
4 or 5 years ago.
Still suck at it.
Well, Mr. Jeff, once again, I am doing this live from the comic book shop, so thanks to Mr. Jeff for letting me do it. He told a story that you turned into the Hulk and you started throwing people. Is that true?
That sounds very exaggerated.
So, how did you get into it? What brought you into judo?
Just always had interest in martial arts. Started with karate a long time ago.
Okay.
I've also done aikido and stuff like that.
What are some tenets of judo that you might find interesting that people might want to know?
Wait, say that again?
Like, what are some cool things about judo that people might want to know?
You get to throw people.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. You get to throw folks.
I mean, recently you got Ronda Rousey, and she started with judo.
Really?
So
Yeah, that's right.
She's Olympic judo before she started her thing in the cage. So
is that something you want to get into? Want to do some MMA,
man,
maybe?
Have you taken a look at me?
It don't matter. It don't matter. Look at Roy Nelson. Roy Nelson looks exactly like him.
I'm 30 and I look like this. No, it ain't happening. There's a time problem as well.
But y'all come to the comic book shop a lot, and y'all play card games and board games. So what's your top card games and board games?
That guy still looks in better shape than me.
Who's that?
Roy Nelson is a very popular UFC fighter.
They'll show me a picture of Roy Nelson on his phone.
Oh no, he's in better shape. I promise.
No, well he's
look about equal.
Stronger.
Yeah, look about equal. He might be stronger, yeah.
It's not about being in shape. He's the same shape as you.
My fast food diet cannot compete with whatever he does.
And that's a funny thing about fast food diets is it's horrible for you, but it tastes the best. Why is that? Why y'all think that is? Why is
we are weak-minded Americans.
Yeah, it could be. It could be part of it.
Eating chicken McNuggets. That was Usain Bolt.
Really?
During the Olympics, he was eating chicken nuggets because he couldn't find anything he wanted to eat in China. He found the first familiar thing.
Right.
McDonald's. He just ate chicken nuggets.
The worst things, man, are the most delicious because, I really want to leave here and get some pizza. So.
Well, they always do say, but the taste good probably shouldn't eat.
Right. So what card games and board games y'all play when y'all get here?
Oh God. Your podcast does not have enough time for us to list everything.
I mean, well, what's your favorite ones?
It varies. I mean, The thing about board games and card games that I like is there are so many different kinds of board games, card games, that no matter what your favorite flavor is,
Right.
there is bound to be something that you're going to enjoy. There's simple card games, there's complex card games, there's science fiction card games, fantasy card games, or what have you. And there's card games with little rules, card games with a lot of rules. It's what you're bound to find something you like.
If we had to say a common thing that we enjoy, it's games without downtime, which is, your traditional games. When you play your turn and you're done and you're waiting for the 3-4 other people or whatever, you're just sitting there. You're just watching them roll dice or roll whatever it is. Most of our games have most modern games have a different structure on how the turn works.
Right.
There are some games where it really doesn't matter if it's your turn or not. You're doing something, and we tend to like the games with a huge social aspect to it.
Like games that are really popular, or games that need a lot of people to play.
No, social isn't. It isn't just mechanics. It's not just this character is this powerful. It does this much damage. The social games are a lot more about how well you can lie. How you interact with other people.
All right.
The best example, the easiest example would be Resistance. It's a game where there are random two to three randomly selected players that are traitors. And you don't know who they are. They know who each other are, but you don't. And you have to figure out who they are before the game ends, or they're pretty much going to win.
Y'all play Yu-Gi-Oh a lot?
The funny story, I wrote for Scry magazine.
What's
back in the day. It was a card gaming magazine. That was a price guide.
All right.
It was that was a long time ago. They don't have these things anymore. I wrote about Yu-Gi-Oh strategy, which is sort of a farce because back then there really wasn't any strategy. It was just you play the one deck and you win. But I played a long time ago, like when it first came out. I think when I quit, there was only like 3 or 4 expansions. At least released in English. And so this was like high school or middle school. And
Do y'all feel that like cartoons and merchandising is taken away from the card game industry? Like, is it 'cause I feel like it's all just a big marketing ploy. Like the cartoons is just only there because
in board games that sometimes doesn't apply. Because it is like for a card, like especially like old like video games. If a video game is based on like say a movie, there's always that perception that it's not going to be good, and they're usually right. Like all the Alien video games are mostly bad. The Pacific Rim video game was bad.
Really? Yeah. They had a game?
Yeah, you didn't even hear about it because it wasn't well received. And because they're mostly cash cows, like they're just trying to profit off the IP. But in board games, that doesn't seem to be the case. Like the Battlestar Galactica board game, for example. Like neither me or Dale know anything about the show. But we're talking to playing a game of Battlestar Galactica, or he bought it, and it's an amazing board game.
Game of Thrones board game
is amazing.
A Game of Thrones board game, because there's actually multiple Game of Thrones games. Card game is good too. I just got into that. What's the other one? We haven't played Sons of Anarchy yet. We don't watch the show. But apparently it's very highly rated, and looking at the mechanics, it looks like a really good game. Homeland.
They have board games for that? What?
And they're apparently very good. Like when we first saw it, we assumed, that can't be good. That's that's a cash grab. But apparently, they're very well designed games.
Well, the theory is that and this should work for video games, but it doesn't seem to because of their crazy deadlines and everything, and they get rushed out, and they have to meet the demand of the movie coming out or whatever they're based on. Board games don't have that. Like board gamers don't really care about that game coming out at the same time as the movie.
If it's good, it's good.
Typically maybe Star Wars might have stuff coming out or whatever. But
I mean, I do think a lot of that has to do with the fact that video games are just infinitely more popular, than board games. It's such a bigger portion of the hobbyist money pie, let's say.
Right.
That they're liable to say, "Oh, we just need to get this game out and we'll make a lot of money."
But
just off the strength of the.
In theory, basing on a property should make making the game easier, and I think it works for board games because you don't have to develop an actual world. You can just focus on game mechanics, and I think that's what they actually do with board games because they have a large amount of time to make the board game, so they don't have to. They have a basis to create their theme around, and so now they just have to worry about game mechanics because they already have something to suck the player in.
But that's really interesting because you're right. So you don't have to be a part of the culture of the show or the video game that the board game is based on to appreciate it. You just like the rules of the game.
Yeah, I was just saying, like, basing it on property, like it does some of the work for you if you're a game designer. You know, so all you have to do is focus on the game mechanics as opposed
to. For a board game, the theme is important because the theme will make a game more enjoyable.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, most games are number crunching, and I don't really feel like opening an algebra book.
Right.
But I do enjoy number crunching. But if you're giving me a theme to associate with it, then it's much more enjoyable.
Okay. Cool. One board game that I saw that I was interested in because it was a very good video game was BioShock Infinite, and they got
heard decent things about it.
Yeah.
We don't own it.
Okay.
Generally, I've found that there are most games, if they're not terrible, if they're not great, they end up in the meh territory.
Okay.
Most of the board games are actually playable because it takes a lot for a publisher to go, okay, we're going to actually put this on the shelf. So generally, if you see like BioShock Infinite, if you love BioShock Infinite, there's probably a good chance if you buy it, you're going to enjoy the board game.
Okay. Yeah, good point. That makes sense. We talked a lot about the relationship between board games and video games. Would y'all consider yourselves more board gamers or video gamers? Or card gamers?
It fluctuates. I tend to either focus on one or the other, but I would say I'm more tabletop gamer than video gamer.
What kind of consoles y'all have?
I play PC.
Okay, y'all play PC games?
No, he doesn't.
Well, I have everything but the PC and Xbox.
Okay. Why? So do you have a PlayStation 4?
Yes.
Okay. What made you go with the PlayStation 4 over the Xbox One?
Just kind of always had PlayStation and just kind of went with the flow.
What you think makes that occur? Because I remember when I was a kid and there was a Sega and a Nintendo, and it was like a big old schism, like a chasm between them. It was like a war. Like, what you think makes people gravitate towards one or the other, PlayStation or Xbox, Sega, Nintendo?
It's very complex because you could break it down even further than why do people that go to one high school hate people that go to the rival school?
Right.
People like division. People like making groups. People like defending things.
Yeah. Good point.
And that's the basis of it all. It is more complicated than that. But at the end of the day, people like to argue.
Right. People like this is mine, and this is why I like it, and this is why you should like it. If you don't like it, you're incorrect. You're wrong for not liking it.
People like that with like movies, like somebody's favorite movie. If you say you don't like that movie, there's something wrong with it. Or no, you don't understand that movie. That's why you don't like that movie.
There's also a thing I was reading somewhere like.
Really wouldn't have been that.
People feel the need to justify what they have invested time or money into.
Yeah, good point.
If someone spent X amount of time and money into something and then they discover that it's actually just terrible,
right?
That's they wasted their time and money.
Yeah, they feel bad about it.
So they don't want to ever come to that conclusion, even though really Xbox versus PlayStation. For me, I look at the list of games and go, okay, I generally gravitate toward the exclusives that PlayStation has, and Xbox. I'm not a Halo fan or anything like that. So even if I had the Xbox, I may not even buy Halo.
Right.
So the PlayStation and Wii U, it's nothing but exclusive. So
yeah.
It still collects dust, but
yeah. How how y'all feel about the video gaming industry? Do you think it's on the uprise, or do you think it's like it's getting stagnant in any way, or? Because I think
it hit a critical mass like a few years ago.
You think so? What do you think caused it, or what would you say would be the point at which that happened?
By grow, I think the only way you can describe the industry to be growing is when you start attracting different demographics. But I think video gaming is so accepted at this point, or it has been for a while, that it's just all the demographics.
It's just another form of media now.
Because when I was growing up, video games was like, you're a nerd. You're a nerd. You play video games. But now it's everybody. Everybody plays video games.
Yeah.
It's like the early days of television. I'm sure at some point somebody's like, hey, is this going to go anywhere? Is this going to just stop? Like, I think it's just, it's just another media to enjoy. And I don't think it's going anywhere. It used to be niche, but now it's just, like you said, it's accepted.
Yeah, because like you don't really see too many people that say I don't play video games outside of girls. A lot, mostly. I mean, like there's a large contingent. Right, there's a large contingent of girls who do, but the only people I've ever heard say that they don't play video games and not give a reason is girls. A small couple.
I'm gonna interject real quick. I don't really play video games.
Yeah, you did say that. Cap, you have to get a little closer to the mic.
It depends on your definition of video games, because I see you on playing mobile games all the fucking time.
You play Warcraft.
I play Warcraft and I play like
that counts.
That counts as a video game.
You play Grand Theft Auto game
when they come out.
Yeah,
once every 6 years or whatever.
That's what I mean, though. I think he's talking about specific people that just avoid video
games completely. Yeah,
and I think
that was Mr. Jeff, by the way.
Gender separation and gender roles. Like girls just probably didn't think
they shouldn't play it.
Yeah. I think that probably played a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
Because gender, everything's a lot more gender neutral now.
Right.
Well, everything in society, like video games, do generally produce content that is geared towards males. I mean, your mainstream games. I mean, obviously your puzzle type games on the phone are gender neutral.
Right.
Your bigger titles tend to appeal to one gender.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that all games should. I mean, like it seems like there's just so many of them. It's hard to discern what game is. There's no specific game for any specific group anymore, you know?
Oh, sports games are still...
Yeah, sports games are still specific, I guess, yeah.
I think maybe strategy games might fit a certain niche within the group.
Yeah.
MOBAs, those kind of things.
MOBAs are very popular. I'd say MOBAs are kind of cross demographic.
They do fit the category of love it or hate it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I mean, I know a lot of different kind of people that play MOBAs. Because, like, I think it started with NFL Blitz.
Yeah?
That's when everybody started. Or no, it started with NFL Blitz and GoldenEye.
What started with that?
As far as gaming becoming far more accepted as a thing.
Yeah.
Because everybody played Blitz. Everybody I know played Blitz. Everybody I knew played GoldenEye, and it was amazing. And
GoldenEye was
Call of Duty
groundbreaking.
Came out, Halo came out. Frat boys started playing all these, guys who normally wouldn't associate themselves with video games.
Right.
It became part of their lifestyle. Though I think I do recall Street Fighter being in a Notorious B.I.G. video.
Yeah.
I don't remember which one it was. But they were at a house party and all the gangsters just playing Super Nintendo. But I think that may have also been... Because I remember Street Fighter 2 specifically was a big breaking point for the Super Nintendo.
He was I remember he did a rhyme and he talked about playing Sega Genesis and talked about playing Nintendo, like, because that was like, it was the biggest thing. It was expensive at the time. He didn't want to talk about the like disposable income, stuff that you don't need but you want, So I always thought that was kind of cool. Any what's some notable changes that y'all seen in the video gaming industry that, because Dale, you said you're 30.
I can see one.
So you've been through a lot of generations.
I guess this kind of answers this, but to just something I was thinking about. We were talking about Ronda Rousey earlier. I was remembering that she's an avid fan of Pokemon and stuff like that. So,
I had heard that. Yeah.
So we have like top athletes in a combat-oriented sport that are into nerd things. I think nerd stuff in general is more accepted.
Yeah, because it's cool, and I think I don't know when that shift changed, when that shift happened, but it became okay to be yourself and be out, and like not hide what you like. To put like a Pokemon front and center on your shirt and walk around and it'd be okay. So I think that when stuff like that started changing, it started being cool, and then people started actually showcasing what they really like.
It might be because nerds are more useful now, because everyone has a computer. Everyone needs somebody to fix their damn computer, and having nerds around is pretty useful. You could consider like maybe a mechanic a nerd at some point, but they're not because they're useful.
I mean, to that point, you can consider anybody who has a passion for anything a nerd. You could be a music nerd. You could be a sports nerd, like
fantasy football.
Yeah, yes, and I am
especially
definitely
before laptops, because I remember playing fantasy football in the back in the day. You used to have a bunch of guys in a room with newspapers, and pencils and notepads, writing down their stats.
Wow.
And now, of course, it's all automated.
Yeah. And it makes it so much easier. I can't even imagine that.
But back in the day, you would have the newspaper with the box scores, because this is before ESPN.com.
Right.
Other stuff. And you would just sit there with the box scores, making all these notes and writing down. This would be a group of grown men. For me, it was 70.
So you played? You played?
Back in the day, we did fantasy. Yeah.
Really? I remember the first time I did fantasy football. Since you said that, when I was in PE and in middle school, they had a fantasy football section of the curriculum for like a block.
In middle school.
Yeah, in middle school. Yeah, I never forget that. It was me and my cousin, and we had to be a team. And I didn't understand it then. And the PE teacher was a football coach, and he talked about fantasy football. You had to make a name, and you had to buy players, and however they did in real life was how you did. And I didn't care about football at the time. As a little kid, I didn't really start liking football until high school. And I remember it was on paper. Since you said that, I actually did that once.
It was on paper.
Which is interesting.
Man.
I think our friend Tyler was saying how he doesn't really care too much for football anymore.
He doesn't watch football,
but he enjoys fantasy football.
Fantasy football is a lot of fun.
He enjoys analyzing. He enjoys, because you don't have to watch football.
No, you don't.
These days, you just have to read other analysts' opinions and figure out for yourself what that means.
In fact, when I leave here, I'm going to watch football. Going to watch the Saints and the Falcons. Yep.
That's true.
Yep.
Oh, man. I mean, I'm not going to say we're going to lose, but it's a rebuilding year.
Yeah, we might lose this game, and I'm on record saying it because it's recorded.
That phrase is so funny, though, because it really means your team sucks ass.
Yeah.
But they say, they rebuild.
Right.
It's one of the, in sports, they always have a nice way to think.
Right. Nice way to say it.
If you got a white player, it don't happen with black players. If you got a white player who tries really hard, but he's not that good, they say, he got a lot of heart. He got a lot of hustle. I admire his hustle. He's not the best player, but he has a lot of hustle. Or if it's the black player, they say he got a lot of raw talent.
Right.
It's not in the right place, but he got a lot of potential.
Yeah, once you can mold it into a weapon. That's one thing I hate. I don't like it when they call wide receivers, running backs, or tight ends weapons for quarterbacks. I don't know. That just rubs me the wrong way. They're people. They're not weapons. Never like that. Never like that phrase.
Relevance in this conversation has become zero.
I'm a sports nut.
So you don't have any. You don't care about sports at all.
I mean, occasionally I care about UFC.
Okay.
Mostly just to watch it occasionally. I don't really keep up with names. I never actually, whether I enjoy a sport, actually participating in a sport, I've never enjoyed being a spectator. So I either enjoy playing the sport or I just don't care.
Okay, no, I can dig that.
I grew up around it. because I grew up. My dad was going to Iowa when I was born. The Hawkeyes, and the Hawkeyes have a very strong sports tradition. They're usually in the talk, for. They always do the same thing. They're really strong, and then at the end they kind of
fall off. Yeah.
But and also my mom and dad watched the Cowboys when I was a kid.
Okay.
Because my mom thought Tom Landry was cute. I don't know if you remember Tom Landry.
Right. No, yeah, I remember him. I mean, I don't remember him, but I know about him. I've heard about him.
Yeah, and I just always as a kid watch sports. Football, basketball.
That's cool. And you can remember a time when you did fantasy football on paper, which is remarkable. But
that makes you old.
Never mind what the investment.
Yeah, I'm 30.
I'm almost 30.
Almost there?
Yeah.
You're slightly older than me. Huh?
It's not through the investment.
What, a couple?
Do y'all live together?
No.
He how did y'all meet?
Board games, actually.
Yeah? Y'all met here?
Over
Started hanging out?
We didn't start hanging out until board games. Board games brought us together.
Oh, that's so cute.
Into the relationship that we have now.
That's so sweet.
No, because we both played Magic, but he played different. I was aware that he existed as a person.
Okay.
But I never
I
interacted.
wasn't really aware of his existence.
Because, and it just, we never interacted.
Okay.
But once we both started playing board games, it kind of pulled and drew us together. And it did the same thing with Tyler and Seth.
And then it blossomed into something beautiful.
Oh, look at that. Oh, so nice. Would y'all consider either one of y'all being good enough to compete at a high level with Magic or any of these games?
I've had my competitive time with Magic.
Okay.
The problem was having the resources to drive to every single tournament, to be able to make it to the Pro Tour and all that. It just really didn't seem worth it. And he probably spends a lot of money traveling to get to that point. And
who's this?
Donald Jr. Smith is a local Magic player. Okay. And he's at the Pro Tour right now, which is the highest level of Magic play.
Okay.
Not a lot of you have to be invited.
You got to be invited.
You got to earn the right to play.
The time dedication to get to that point is very equivalent to the time dedication of anything else, like any Olympic sport or whatever. I know Tom Ross is a local Pro Tour player. Well, I say local. He lives in the same state. It's our only. Well, I guess Jody Keith and now Donald Smith but he made top 8 in the Pro Tour, which is even bigger than just.
Where's the tournament held?
Who? Donald?
No, Tom Ross.
Yeah.
And he would practice at least 40 hours a week.
How does one practice Magic?
Play tests.
Play games.
Just play against other people?
It's I mean, it's all about knowing what the matchups are like.
Okay.
Like I don't. You played Yu-Gi-Oh? You said?
I don't, but I know about it, and I know people who have because of coming here a lot.
Magic, competitive Magic is all about knowing the matchups that you're supposed to do in certain situations. Okay. And in order to know that, most players put in a lot of time play testing. They test, if this happens, I do this. It goes through the motions.
It's also a process of finding, the established decks that everybody plays, what we refer to as a meta, and finding a way to destroy that meta is sometimes, or you pick one of those decks and you go, I'm going to learn everything about all the other decks, so that way I know what's going on. Just min-maxing your win ratios.
Okay. Where is the tourney held?
It's in Wisconsin right now.
It's in Wisconsin? Okay.
It's all over the state.
Okay.
It's a very big, thing.
Well, the Pro Tour is... Yeah, but it's not always in the States. Sometimes the Pro Tour...
Yeah, it can be... It's international.
Okay.
There's been... I was one matchup away from... I think making the San Juan Pro Tour. Okay. But then I got crushed, so that was kind of the end of my career when I realized, well, this is a lot of time spent to almost not make it.
I mean, but that's part of any competition, right? You try hard, and then if you fail, you might fail, but you might win.
I bet that
it just
gotta keep trying.
Seems like you need to. I don't know, not have a life outside of Magic in order to make it there.
A lot of those pros do like stores to sell cards, or they work on one of the websites.
Yeah, like I think one Pro Tour player, he just kept going to college, and he had more degrees than he actually even needed.
Right.
And he was like high level Pro Tour, but no, it's like your job has to be Magic, and that's why I compare it. You know, people will scoff at the idea of comparing it to Olympic sports, but as far as time is concerned, it's
Olympic sport. Athletes get paid a lot more though.
Well, dedication,
right,
is what I'm talking about. I know that they don't get paid the same, but the time commitment to get to that level is pretty high.
But that's with anything though.
Yeah.
If you want to be good at anything, you gotta dedicate yourself to it.
And I have a job, so I didn't have that time commitment that I needed.
Right.
Well, even if you don't have a job, it's really hard to make this a job because the money just isn't there. It is a lot of money. I think each Pro Tour has a total payout of about $250,000, but that's across like 10,000 people. Like if you win the whole thing, you get $40,000.
Okay.
If you're second, it's $20,000. Then half.
In theory, you could live off of it if you know how to trade and sell cards, and you're constantly winning. There is a career there. There's just a very small percentage.
Well, like anything else, you can't be a mediocre player and succeed.
Right, but you gotta get invited anyway.
You could be an amazing player and still have a hard time.
How does what's the steps that you have to take to get invited? I know you gotta be good.
You gotta win regional events.
Okay. You gotta
and these regional events are sanctioned by the tourney. And how do you find out about them?
They're advertised at the stores. Like Albix 2 has had several GP.
Well, that's not the Pro Tour, or has it changed? The regionals fed into nationals.
Yeah.
I think nationals, if you made like top 8, you got a Pro Tour invite.
Mm-hmm.
But that if you make top 8 in nationals, that's still pretty good.
Same thing with GPs.
But I think GPs are open though, so anyone can go to those. But Pro Tour specifically, like the easiest route. Back when I was trying to make it, you just had to win one Pro Tour qualifier.
Okay.
Nowadays, I think you have to win a.
You gotta get points.
Don't you have to win a PTQ? What is it called?
PTQQ.
And then you have to go to the next level after that, which is the actual Pro Tour qualifier, and make top 4, and then you get the invite. Now, whether
it might be top 8. It might be top 8.
I thought it was top 4.
Okay.
I think there was only 4 invites, because before it was just 1 invite per tournament. Now it's 2 tournaments, 4 invites. So technically there's more invites going out, but it's kind of...
That's cool.
They've actually had Magic on ESPN before.
Really?
Yeah, this is like 3 o'clock in the morning, but yeah.
This is like
ESPN 2 or something.
They would do broadcasts of Worlds.
Yeah.
On ESPN.
This guy I know, he watches like this. It's on his phone. It looks like a news broadcast of Magic players. I can't remember what it's called.
Probably Star City Games.
I think that's what it is.
There's several venues that do it. I mean, like
Star City does the most.
Wizards does its own thing on Grand Prix, but I think didn't they kind of start getting Star City to do it anyway, or something like that?
No, I mean Star City does some of the.
They do the best ones.
Okay.
Because they actually get well-known names in the community to actually host.
Both Star City and Channel Fireball.
Channel Fireball.
This is much less than Star City, but the media is.
Channel Fireball has less presence for sure.
Do you think the community is growing, or the Magic community? Or has it stayed the same? Or?
I think it's about where it's going to stay for
quite a while.
as long as it is around. I don't really see it growing more. I think as players leave, more players are coming in, so it just kind of stays the same.
That makes sense.
At least not the professional bit, because you have kids that play, but it
is an expensive hobby.
Why is that?
Well, for instance, now mine is a little exclusive because I play an older format now, but one of my decks costs $3,000.
Wow.
And that's a lot of
you
money.
can get a car for it.
Now, did I spend that much on those cards? No. I've been collecting for like over 15 years, and those cards were not quite worth that much when I got them, and now they've gone in value. I have technically, if I sell my collection now, have made money, but for most people, that's not the case.
Okay.
Standard is what most people play. Now, it is deceptively cheaper than Legacy because your deck costs around $300, but they, because of the way rotation works, they end up actually spending more than I do.
Wow.
Because some of their cards will no longer be playable in Standard because they're too old, and they have to buy new cards. So, the real point of this is the hobby is really expensive, and so that's why it won't grow. It'll stay about the same.
Okay.
Especially considering LCGs are getting more popular, board games are getting more popular, and it's just cheaper. Because like a board game,
I will disagree with that, but maybe it's because I have a problem.
no, I mean, as far as board games are concerned, you can buy one board game for $40 that 4 people can play.
Right.
And it'll be good, for like probably 15 or 20 plays. Which is the way I see it, the way I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? Not excuse. It's kind of like the excuse I use for buying a board game.
Okay.
Is
the reason.
Okay, so I might only play this 5 times, or I might only play this 10 times, but those 5 times will be about 3 or 4 hours each, and at least 4 or 5 people will get entertainment out of those 4 or 5 hours. And if you measure that against like the cost of going to the theater and watching a movie, or going out bowling or whatever, that's pretty much all you can do in Lafayette.
Right.
But it's a lot more cost efficient.
Outside of downtown.
It's a lot more cost efficient because you're paying for hours and hours of entertainment for multiple people. And it is $60, but if you play this game 10 times, 3 hours a piece, that's 30 hours.
If you think of what it costs to go to a theater and watch
that's
a
$30
movie
a night
for a group of people, then it actually works out pretty well if you think about how much a game costs.
Yeah.
Now, if you're one of the lucky people that isn't me or Andrew that just kind of gets into a group and never buys games, then you're just getting free content all the time.
You do not never buy games.
Oh, I buy way too many games.
I
buy more games we're capable of playing, but like I said, I have a problem.
As a collector, you're a collector.
Yeah.
You like collecting board games.
Yeah, it's
how many
a fancy word for a problem.
Between the 3 of us, we probably have about 70 different board games.
Wow.
Between the 2 of us.
To be fair, some of those games are micro games and card games.
And then we add Tyler and Seth. We probably, in our core group...
They add like, what, 7 games?
I'd say like 20. Probably 20.
Yo, y'all really complain like, y'all really argue like a married couple. This is so nice.
Oh.
It's so sweet.
We actually haven't made that commitment yet. Further down the line.
Right. You won't take it slow. I get you. I'm with it.
No, I keep getting to try to watch Netflix with me.
No Netflix and chill.
No.
You don't want to rush into it. Save that. That's for special people.
Yeah.
So like I said, we're rocking at the comic book shop, and y'all into comic books or what?
I have been. My problem with board games used to be the hardback collections of comics.
Okay.
And they don't have quite as much replay value, and I prefer dumping my money on board games now.
I can dig it. Yeah, you like once you read it, it's pretty much done.
It looks nice on a shelf.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah.
The only reason I'm not more into comics is because I hate waiting.
You don't like waiting every Wednesday?
No, especially like whenever I do read comics, I'll read something that's been out for a while, so I don't have to wait to find out what happens. Because I hate that. That's why I don't watch any shows like Game of Thrones or Walking Dead. Because I don't like cliffhangers. I don't like waiting for a resolution. I'd rather just as they say, binge watch something.
So y'all play Game of Thrones board game, but y'all don't watch Game of Thrones.
I watch Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones is great.
And I think he's an idiot. But,
Game of Thrones is fantastic.
You
fantastic
hate cliffhangers,
show.
but you want to play Pandemic Legacy. I don't know.
I think I'll have the same problem. Well, see, with Pandemic Legacy though, like we can play like probably 6, 7,
we don't technically have to wait, but I don't think you want to sit there and play for 18 hours straight.
I might.
Well, I guess technically we have.
That's the thing. You have the option. The option is there. You don't play one game and then say
Seth's schedule says that we don't have the option.
You don't play one game and then you have to wait until they decide. Oh, you can find out what happens next now.
You will if the guy with the game goes home.
And when I used to read comics, that's when I hated. Like I would read older comics and then I would catch up and be like, oh crap.
Oh yeah.
Caught up. Now I gotta wait like every other person.
Yes. See, but it's interesting that you say that because everything is on demand now. You got your music, you got your TV shows, you got your movies.
So you still have to wait though.
Yeah. What do you mean?
You still have to wait for new episodes to come out.
But they're making whole seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Some shows are making whole seasons.
Yeah,
Right.
See, I actually kind of hate that.
Right.
Because, like, I love the Daredevil series, but man, it feels like it wasn't on for very long. It's 13 episodes.
Yeah.
Which,
You didn't have to watch it all. You could have watched one episode.
If you know how much I love Daredevil, there was no stopping that marathon.
Mr. Jeff says Daredevil was great. I don't have Netflix, so I can't watch it, but I want to. I hear it's fantastic.
It is worth the price of paying for Netflix and then going, okay, I watched it, now I'm just going to shut down the account.
Yeah.
I mean...
Well, technically, if you've never used Netflix, you just get a trial account.
Right. Okay, good point. Yeah.
But if you've already used up your trial account, what is it, $7? $8?
Yeah, something like that.
That is worth it. I am sure you spend way more on Redbox if you use that than
on Blockbuster.
What's that?
That is a relic of the past.
Oh man! When I was a kid, we used to go to Del Champs.
Yeah.
Yeah. The $1 movie rentals.
I work at the TV station, and we did a story about the last Blockbuster in I think Acadiana. And it was a sad story.
There was the one next to Chunking?
I think so. I think so, yeah. The very last Blockbuster, relic of the past, like you said.
Well, there used to be a family event.
Yeah.
You go to Blockbuster as
every
a family.
Friday, man.
Like, we have to argue over, what movie should we watch? You know, you go down to the 3 movies.
Right.
You remember, like, you could rent Nintendo 64s at a Blockbuster.
Yep.
I never actually did
Whole
that.
console. I never
did
did
that
either.
once. It was interesting.
Yeah.
But
I did rent games before.
I went to Blockbuster right as they were closing and doing their big closeout, and all these used DVDs that have been used by countless amount of people. Or I guess now not really because no one was buying them, but they're selling them pretty close to retail, which was pretty crazy.
Really?
Yeah, like get like a $20 DVD and they're selling it for like $15 or $10.
Well, considering they took that long to go on demand, obviously good decisions were not their forte.
Yeah, they was really late to that game. Redbox had already had the market cornered by the time.
Redbox really is just
Redbox,
Blockbuster, but in a smaller box.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not an
It
actual
was really
store.
Netflix that killed Blockbuster.
You think so? I think it was Redbox.
There was Movie Land. You remember that?
That was what?
That was actually towards the latter days. That was actually my preferred place to go rent movies. Was Movie Land.
Well, I don't even mean the on demand because Netflix. You remember movie rentals from Netflix, right?
Yeah.
Because it was just so much more convenient, and it costs less depending on how many movies you watched at a time.
Yeah, and they would gouge you on those late fees.
It was more convenient at
Blockbuster.
first until everyone was on Netflix, and then you're like, I want this new movie that came out. Well, you're gonna have to wait forever, and then you just end up buying it so you can watch the damn thing.
Do y'all think that's going away? People just buying stuff? Cause like, I could watch.
No.
You're talking to a collector. But my answer
That's
for
the
that,
market, not DVDs
so
now.
my answer to that is not very good.
Okay.
I'll be honest with you. I don't think that's the case because not everybody has unlimited internet like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I'm actually trying
or
to
internet at the house. Because I know a lot of people who don't have internet at the house. They still, buy DVDs just to watch them. Or just to have that copy, so they don't have to, be connected to the internet. They can watch it wherever they want. They have a portable DVD player or what have you.
Cause I could have Netflix and I could stream and stuff like that, but I still want to have it. I just want to have it in my hand. I feel like I'm an old man or like I'm strange for saying that. Cause like Age of Ultron came out, I really wanted. I mean, I could rent it on Redbox, And if I had Netflix, I'm sure it's there already too. But I want to get it from.
That's why they do collector's
from a store.
editions and stuff. You know, you get extras and you get a fancy box. You get a tin. I feel that's they probably have a lot. That's how they sell a lot of those TV series.
Yep.
Because I imagine a lot of people who buy those things don't watch the DVDs. They might watch it one time.
Yeah.
Put it up on the shelf.
You're right.
It's just for display.
Good point. I don't think
it's got all the extras and stuff on it. And there's actually some TV series that, you know, because it's hard to find it on any kind of streaming service, like Game of Thrones, you're kind of, if you don't have HBO, you're kind of stuck.
Well, they have HBO Go.
Yeah.
You can stream it now.
Well, HBO Go requires you to actually have an HBO subscription.
You could just have HBO though. HBO Go.
Yeah, but you have to have a subscription. But some people don't even have cable or satellite, so they would have to actually buy the DVDs or whatever. But I think HBO just came out with some other service.
Yeah, they got some new service like you pay like $15 a month.
Yeah,
and you can have it.
HBO Go.
That's pretty expensive when you compare it to like Hulu and.
Yeah.
But
it is a lot of
it is
stuff.
cheaper than buying the seasons.
But it's exclusive though, because like the stuff that you would have on this HBO streaming site you won't get on Hulu, Crackle, Netflix.
I will say this: it is killing cable and satellite.
Yeah.
If I wasn't in a situation where somebody was already paying for cable or satellite, I wouldn't pay for it.
You know what's saving it though? Sports.
I was
Well,
about to say
right.
sports.
Talking to the wrong person.
Right.
I
know.
No, they got that stuff down too. They got NFL Mobile. They got NFL On Demand streaming.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing
I guess
that
if you're
keeps
into
it-
wrestling, they got that thing too, whatever it's called.
The only thing, I didn't think it's because they're trying to keep it alive on cable, is for the NFL streaming, you can't, it's on demand only like 24 hours after the game has expired.
It's not. It's staying alive because people with money are trying to keep it alive. Realistically, if they stop, if everything went to streaming, it's a dying format.
No, it's never that simple.
It's like Blockbuster. Blockbuster lasted way longer than it should have, and it's because certain people were hoping that it could survive longer. You know, it is a business. There are people who had money involved in it and were going to lose money if it died. And
It was the news too.
Yeah.
So some people just like to watch the news.
That group of people is slowly disappearing.
that is a worse source of news information. Like the internet is
People don't know that.
Yeah, let's
We
just
know
go.
that. People don't know that.
Let's just go watch Fox News.
All right. Well, I got to wrap this up, y'all. And I really appreciate, again, this was an impromptu podcast episode.
Did good, Dale. I'm very proud of you.
Dale and Drew, the card game
I bet
couple.
it sounds terrible.
Dale and Drew.
Oh man, if this was like a more popular podcast, I imagine people would come to us. It's such a cute couple.
Hopefully I build it up to that, man. That's why I do it every week, one episode a week. And like I said, again, I want to thank my guest today. I want to thank Mr. Jeff for letting me do it at the comic book shop. And as always, you can find me at Grasshopper GP on Twitter, spelled normally, Grasshopper GP. Grasshopper GP at Yahoo is the email. You're listening to this on YouTube, Grasshopper GP official. Grasshopper GP official. That's Grasshopper with 3 S's because I couldn't spell the day I made the YouTube account. So that's GrassHopperGPOFFICIAL. And thank y'all for listening. I really appreciate it. Tell your friends, tell anybody to support it. If y'all got any comments or any suggestions, let me know in the email or in the comment section. Again, I really appreciate everybody who listens to this. This your boy GP, the AquaMethod Podcast, episode 14. Y'all be good.